years. Right, let's go and meet our guest today. His name is Stephen Davies, and he joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
So, you have one of Britain's best jobs. What is your job?
I run a Welsh whisky distillery.
Yes! Now, that is a good job. So tell us, what does that job entail?
Well, I've been running the Penderyn Whisky Distillery for 17 years now, and I guess as a business, we started distilling about 20 years ago, and it was the first time that whisky had been made in Wales when we first started for over 100 years. So it was quite special. It was something a bit different. Probably lacked a bit of credibility in those days because, of course, everybody believed that whisky was made in Scotland and in Ireland. But over the years, we've built up a lot of good, hard-earned credibility and reputation. And now we export to 50 different countries in the world. We have good distribution in the UK. And I agree with you. You know, I used to work in the steel industry and I was never particularly popular then. But running this business has been quite different.
I bet you have a lot of friends. I mean, it looks like a really impressive setup. How did you go from working in the steel industry to running this enormous distillery?
Well, I was lucky, I suppose. One of my colleagues, a guy I worked for a long time, decided he wanted to invest in this business. And I came along with him, and so I picked up the running of it, and building the distribution and everything. So, and he knew I liked whiskey. We both enjoyed spirits over the years. But I mean, it's a real passion. People who drink single malts, they have a real attention to detail with it. So people want to know everything about your brand. They want to know how it's made, what the stills look like, where the water comes from. So it's got a real passion around the business.
And so in terms of putting Wales on the map here, you must be pretty proud of being able to do that.
Oh, very much so, and as a brand for Wales, we've had absolutely amazing support from people in Wales and people obviously beyond as well, because whisky is an international commodity, it's an export commodity. So we're very proud of it. We have 61 passionate shareholders who've been, in the business for many years. They understand it's a long-term thing. Whisky is, it takes a long time to make, takes a long time to build the business.
So how long does it take for the whisky to be made? Because obviously you then, you leave it, don't you, in cask for many years?
Yeah, well, a minimum of 3 years is the law in the UK and in Europe. Once it's 3 years old, you can legally call it whisky. But as I say, we have spirits now up to 22 years old in our warehouse. And we tend to, we select barrels, casks individually, and then we marry them together. So it's very much a decision for our team of blenders and distillers.
So just in terms of the choice of that and leaving a whisky that long, forgive my ignorance here, but the longer it is left in the cask, obviously the taste of it becomes more mature. Does it become a more full-bodied, I suppose?
Yeah, it depends on the spirit, and it depends on the selection of the casks. But by and large, the more time you leave it, the better it can get. But it depends, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. We do some whiskies which are very good at a younger age. They've won a lot of international awards. Others that you have to just leave lie a little bit longer. So that all comes through experience.
And so just in terms of whiskies, now, what is the right way to drink whiskey? My grandfather was a great one for whiskey. I like whiskey. It doesn't like me very much, probably because I drink too much of it. Now, I've learned over the years that I tend to have whiskey. I don't have ice, but I tend to use a little bit of cold water because it's meant to open it up.
Yeah. Well, with our whiskies, because our whiskies are very light and delicate and a bit creamy toffee fudge, I would say drink them neat. Try it neat first. And then, as you say, add a few drops of water if... Oh, very nice.
I know. Thank you. I'll open it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a typical Penderyn whiskey, which is matured in bourbon barrels and finished in Madeira wine casks. It's bottled at 46% alcohol, so it's quite strong, but I do think you could try it neat. But if not, a couple of drops of water is fine.
Dr. Renee's got a clinic in a minute, so she's going to be fun.
Thank you.
Right. So, shall we taste these? And then...
Well, what you should do first is when you pour it in the glass, before you taste it, have a look at the colour of the whiskey. Very important.
It's very light and amber looking.
Yeah. And all the colour is natural. It comes from the casks that it's been in. And then put it to your nose. Again, before you drink it, just have a little nose.
Honey.
Don't get your nose too close because there's a lot of alcohol there. It's going to come up through the glass. And then once you've nosed it, got a little bit of the light aroma.
Smell the honey?
It's lovely. So I love the smell of whiskey. I'm not so mad on the taste, so I'm quite happy to just smell it, actually.
Well, this particular whiskey is quite popular with ladies as well because it's very light and fruity and delicate. So do give it a go. And when you sip it, hold it in front of your mouth and chew it around a little bit. You know, get it into your taste buds.
I've got to breathe on people soon.
I wish I was one of your patients. That's very funny. I've got to breathe on. That's delicious.
Thank you.
No, it's delicious because it's not too harsh and there's no aftertaste to it.
Yeah, it's one of the differences, I think, that our Welsh whiskey is to Scotch whiskey, and we love Scotch whiskey, by the way, but we're a little bit lighter and less oily than a typical Scotch whiskey. So it's quite an easy whiskey to approach.
I'm going to say, as somebody who really doesn't like the taste of whiskey, that although I've only taken the tiniest sip of that, it actually is very nice, and I could drink that.
It's very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not got that taste that knocks me over.
Yeah, and we do a lot of whiskey shows all around the world, and a lot of ladies do say that, actually. They come and they say, well, we've been to the various stands on the show, but this is very light, fruity, and yeah, I could drink that.
So this, for you, if you were to use a mixer with that, I assume you wouldn't like the idea of that. You believe that this is a pure product, then it should be drunk
because it's a single malt. And because of the way, it's put together, it's really designed for sipping and a few drops of water. I mean, a little bit of ice if you want, but you'll lose the aromas a bit when you put ice in it.
No, it's really nice.
It smells lovely.
I mean, it is 9:30 after all.
Well, it is a bit early, yeah, that's true.
No, I meant it's late.
We have been up a long time.
I've been up since 3. No, that's really delicious. So, just in terms of when you say to people, when would you drink this? After a meal, or would you have it as a pre-prandial?
Well, because it's quite light and fruity, you can drink it as an aperitif. Or you can drink it sort of later in the evening. So it's quite a flexible sort of thing, We do other whiskies which are a bit heavier, a bit fuller bodied as well. So you might choose a portwood whiskey where we mature in a ruby port cask, which are a bit heavier for a bit heavier fruit in it. So, it depends really on what kind of whiskey you've got and what time of the day it is.
And can I just ask you, in terms of Penderyn, do you make any other spirits or is it all whiskey?
No, well, we're primarily a whiskey distillery, but we make Brecon gin, which is, and gin has been, as you know, very, very popular the last few years.
Yes, do send some of that over.
Yeah. We make a rum called Siddiqui rum and a vodka called Brecon 5 vodka. And we also make a Merlin cream liqueur, which is a cream liqueur. So we've got a range of spirits.
You like that?
Yeah, I like the sound of the liqueur.
Dr. Rennie's not going anywhere near the clinic at this rate. OK, so brilliant. So just in terms of the business, it's obviously booming.
Well, like everybody, we've had tough few years, but we are moving the business forward. We've got some good momentum. We're opening our 3rd distillery in Wales, which will be in April next year in Swansea. We already have a distillery in the Brecon Beacons, which is the original, and a distillery in North Wales in Llandudno. So that'll complete, we'll have three working distilleries that people can come along and visit and see us, making and creating these spirits. And we're really focusing on exporting as well.
And just have you had to fight the prejudice from other nations saying, well, Wales isn't known for whiskey?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you go around the world, Wales isn't particularly well known outside of those countries that play rugby. Rule of thumb, if they play rugby, they know Wales. If they don't, then it's difficult. But it's great because we have a range of stories to tell about where we come from, and we kind of present ourselves as the undiscovered Celtic country, if you like.
And also, I've been reading that actually there is a huge appetite for whiskey amongst Asian countries, isn't there?
There is indeed, yeah. We send a lot of whiskey exported to Japan, Taiwan, and most recently China. So, and a lot of interest growing in the premium sector in those countries in the last probably 5 years.
Amazing stuff. So from here, what are the future plans?
Well, very exciting for us. We've just secured a partnership deal with the Welsh captain of Wales football, Gareth Bale, who's becoming a shareholder of the business and going to be a global brand ambassador for us. Wow. And, we have a lot of distribution around the world now, but we need to raise the awareness of the brand. And he is such a well-known Welsh global brand himself that that's a real opportunity, I think, for us. So a lot of focus on just raising the awareness that there is a world-class whiskey from Wales.
Well, amazing stuff, Stephen. Thank you very much indeed. I think I might have a bit more.
What a great job.
What a great job. Yeah, Stephen, thank you so much indeed. I think you'll agree that Stephen has one of Britain's best jobs.